Hello fellow beaders, welcome to Craft Table and yet another tutorial for bead crochet ropes. So in this tutorial you will be learning, or I will be showing you how I've made two strand bead crochet ropes, and then I have joined them together or reduced them in size, and then further made a single rope to make it into a necklace. So the attention here will be on how to do this part where we will be reducing the size of two ropes to make it into one. So this is a technique that I have devised myself, and I have not seen it anywhere else on any other platforms in or anywhere else. So I guess this is the first time that something like this is being done, and please credit it to me if you are doing it, and if you are sharing it somewhere, please share my YouTube link for this, and then please credit the technique to me. Thank you so much. And also, if you haven't always already subscribed, please do subscribe to my channel, and also please share it with other fellow beaders. And here also I have finished this necklace with a with a press button like this. We could be adding any clasp of any sort, or you could make it longer enough so that it goes around your head, but here I have used this technique. So I'll be my tutorial will be about how to make it smaller, how to join two ropes together and make it into a single strand to finish this necklace. So as always, thank you so much for your support. Please do subscribe if you haven't already, and also share this tutorial with any other fellow beaders to whom it might be useful. Thank you once again. To make the double strand beaded crochet rope necklace, I have made two strands of bead crochet rope. So this one is a separate piece, and this one is a separate piece. So as you can see, I started the rope with the starter tube, so it was attached here, then I have detached. So this is the end where I started it. Similarly, this let's call this tube number 1, this is tube number 2. Also the same way, I started with the starter tube and then I continued. And because it is in two layers, we have to have both of them in different lengths. As you can see, both are not the same length. One is longer and the other one is shorter. So this length depends, these two length depends upon how much you want it. So this is what I have made, and I will show you what are the length that I have made. And before that also, I want to tell you that since I used 3 colors of beads, I did not want to use the same color thread throughout. So what I did was, whenever it was gray beads, I have used a gray thread, and when I shifted to yellow, I changed the as I changed the color of the beads, I also changed the thread to yellow. I will show you in the video how I changed colors, or it is just like adding a new thread. See, when you finish some thread in bead crochet, and when you want to add new thread, there is a method that I have shown you, which is a separate video also. I can link you that, or in the same video I will also be showing you how I change the colors here. Similarly, when I finish this part, then I again change to white, and the same thing I have done on the second one also, because I didn't want the same color running throughout. But if you have a common color, supposing you are using a kind of a gray or a moss green color, if it suits all your beads, you can use the same color, but I have done it separately. That means I strung some beads of white on white color thread, and also some on yellow and some on gray. So as I was finishing this part, I picked up the yellow beads and the yellow thread, and as I was finishing this part, I picked up the gray beads and the gray thread. And the next thing that you should know about this is, see, like I told you, this is the part where I started. So this part is where I have ended it, and I have not made any slip stitches. I will have to make slip stitches on that. This I have just removed the thread, the hook from where I was working, and it is just lying like that. And also, let me tell you what is the length of the tubes that I have made now. So this one I'm going to measure. So let me show you completely. So don't pull the tube like this. So I'm just placing it normally, and it is about say 10.5 inches. See, this is 10.5 inches, and each part, that means this part, like how much of white and how much of yellow and how much of gray, is depending on your choice. Like I have made, I think 3 inches of white, and I think the yellow was about 4 inches, and again the gray was like about 3 inches. So this is my measurement for the shorter rope or the inner rope, and my longer rope is, so if I start from here, my longer rope is about 12.5 inches. So this one I told you is 10.5 inches, and this one is 12.5 inches. So this is definitely according to your choice. You can make it as long as short as you want, but definitely one has to be shorter and the other has to be longer. And also the placement of the beads can be your choice. It can be one color, it can be multiple colors, or it can be in the way that you vision your necklace to be. So now let me place these two ones which are the completed ends or the beginning ends. This is where I began my crochet rope, and this part is the place where, this is the place where I have ended the ropes. Now where I have ended the ropes, I cannot leave this as it is. I'll have to make a slip stitch after where I stopped. So this is the place where I have stopped. I'm just going to use a needle to take it out, because I just pulled out my thread and left it there because I wanted to show you how this last part has to be worked. So I'm just going to take out that thread now. And see this, because when I took it out, the last bead came out. So now I'll have to crochet that last bead inside, and then I'll show you we are going to be making some slip stitches without the beads. Now to finish this side where we ended our crochet rope, so you see these 6 beads are still not lying flat. So this is the place where we were working, and this is the place where I stopped crocheting. So after I stopped crocheting, I pulled out my crochet hook, and on the same tail thread I have put on a needle. So this one, what you will have to do is you will have to pass your needle under the, or to the left of the bead, like how you usually put your crochet hook, like that you will have to insert your needle like that. 1, again 2, 3, 4, this is 5, and this is 6. Okay, see, when you do that stitch, it will, now this side also will appear like how our beginning is. See, both of them will be lying flat like this. So this is how we want the ending to be. So after finishing this, now this thread we can just weave it inside, we can weave it inside the rope, or supposing if you just keep this thread long enough, we can add the beads that we are going to work further on, and we can use this also. But for practical purposes and for showing it for the tutorial, I am just going to end this thread. So once the beads are all flat like this on both the sides, see, like I showed you, you have to use the thread and needle and flatten these stitches like this. So once you have made that, Now you remember there are 6 beads on this rope and there is 6, so there are 12 beads totally. So these 12 beads, where we have to combine all this together and make it into one piece, and finally when we attach them we have to make it into a 6 bead rope. So this is how it is going to be. See here, so this 6 bead rope and this 6 bead rope will join together, and then we will proceed and make a 6-inch tube again, continue with bead crochet like this. So to do this, there is a method where you can even join both these together in bead crochet style itself, but I find it difficult to do that. So what I do is, so once I am ready to join, I'll use the brick stitch for about 5 or 6 rows. So this part is the brick stitch part where I'm pointing out. See, starting from where I have joined till here is the part of the brick stitch, and after I do brick stitch and I get to the 6 bead part, then I continue with the bead crochet method. So see, I have put on the beads in this order. So two of gray, two of yellow, and two of white. So this is the pattern I have used for this rope. See, we can use any pattern for this. You can make it one single color, you can make it in blocks like how we made for the chain, or anything can be done here. So I have just used the this spiral technique, this spiraling design for the rope. Okay, so let me explain how to get this effect on this side. So once we have made this, make sure that okay, so when you are going to join the other side, let me just move these beads away. So when you are going to join this other side, make sure that you put them properly. So this is the wrong side, isn't it? So if you attach like this, it will be wrong. So make sure that it's on the correct side. So like this, and this one, these two have to be now joined together. Now to join these together, I'll pick this up, and you can see in these in this rope, you can see, okay, you can see that this is the last bead that we have crocheted into, and this will be the last bead. So this will be the first bead and this will be the first bead. So what we need to do is, these two beads which are sticking out, see, these two ones which are sticking out are the ones we are going to avoid working into. So this 12 bead rope, in the first few rows here, I will be making it into a 10 row or a 10 bead brick stitch. I'll be making a brick stitch with only 10 beads. So these two I'm going to be avoiding. I'm just going to place them together like this, and I'm not going to work into these two. So this will get hidden inside the tube once we do that. So that's what I have done here too. You see, you cannot see those two beads there. So hold it like this, where both of them will be facing each other like this. Then in order to keep them in place like this, we have to take some tape. So these two will be together, sorry, these two will be together like this, and then we will tape it. Instead, I'll just take a piece of tape and then I'll put it on instead of having it on the roll. Keep it together like this. And we could even start from this side also. Just, it is, for me it is a little tricky. I don't know if anyone else have got better ideas to make it work easily. So I'm just going to put the tape first here, then I'm going to hold them together like this. Okay, now that my tape is in place, because I don't, because it's a tube, you know, it can easily shift, and the beads that I want inside may not remain where I want it. So that's why I am almost, see, even now it shifted a little bit. So I think when I work, I'm going to hold it like this. um, and do my stitches. Okay, now in order to make into a brick stitch, we need some thread and needle. So I'm going to be taking some beading thread. Okay, I won't be using the same thick thread here, because this thick thread, when I used to do the bead crochet, it gets hidden inside the, see, it gets hidden inside the tube, so the thickness of the thread will not be seen. But if I am using the same thread for making the brick stitch, it appears the thread looks very well, it looks too big on the outside. So now for this part of the brick stitch, I'm going to be shifting to a beading thread and needle. Okay, so this is actually not beading thread. Here I am just using this upholstery thread. It's a nice what's this, it is a 100% nylon thread, so it's like a beading thread, of course, but since I'm using a size 8 bead, this thread is good enough for this. So once I'm here, now what I should do is I must start making the brick stitches. So brick stitches only on the 8 beads only. So these two I told you we are going to be skipping. So let me start. We are going to be doing the brick stitches in these bridges. So this is one. This is see, from here to here 1 bead, here to here 2 bead, 3, 4, and if you count this from here, it will be 5. But I told you we should not be using that. So here I am going to be starting with 2 beads. So in order to do that, what I am going to do is, yeah, I can even start from here also. I can start from here and add the next bead here. So that's what I'm going to do now. And also what I'm going to do is, so the tail thread, you know, instead of burying the tail thread already inside the tube, what I will do is I'm going to be leaving about 3 or 4 inches of tail thread. I have put on a stop bead here, and I am going to start my work from the stop bead, and when I finish my brick stitch work, I'm going to take off this stop bead, and this thread I'm going to weave it inside the tube. Why I do that is because in case I want to make some changes or I want to remove the stitches, this is easier. If I already bury the tail thread inside the tube and then work my stitches, it will be little difficult for me to take it out. If there is a mistake, it will be difficult for me to do that. So I will start by inserting my needle in this bead here. See, because the stop bead is there, the my thread stops there. Now because this is the gray color side, I am going to pick up one gray bead, and I'm going to pass it under the thread bridge of this one, of the next bead. So here you remember, you should use only 5 beads for this part of the stitches. So I've made one, pick up another bead, pass it under the thread bridge here, and bring the needle back into the same bead. So those of you who know how brick stitch works, so you all will be familiar with that. Okay, so I put on 2 now. The third one goes under this thread bridge. So this is 3, so this is the fourth bead, and this is the fifth bead which will go under this thread bridge. So I've added 5 beads here. So see, this is the first one. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, that's not. Oh, that's the center one. Sorry. So 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. I've added these 5 beads here. Now I'm just going to move on to the next section. In the next section there are yellow beads. So I would need yellow. This here white and gray I had used for the other section. So that's why I have some white and gray there. I'll get some yellow beads now. So yellow. Now make sure that this bead is going to be hidden in the center of the tube. So now I will be shifting. I will be making my next brick stitch on this part of the rope. And here again we need to put on 5 beads only. So let's make the positions clear. So if I use this thread bridge here, it will be 1 bead, then 2, 3, 4, and so I think I will manage when I come. I will manage when I come here. So I'm going to start from here now. Okay, pick up one yellow bead. So this is, this you have to just use your judgment a little bit here. So I feel yeah, I can I can go under this thread bridge, because here, see, because here there's going to be a lot of a gap. So I think I'll have to adjust a little bit there. So I'm going to go under this thread bridge here now. Okay. And make sure that you tighten it a little bit and that they sit next to each other. So keep a count of the beads that we are adding. So that's 1. So this is 2. So this is 3. So I'm making my 4th stitch here. And I have to make another 5th stitch here, but it should also be leave this. So these two are the beads that I said we have to avoid, because we want to avoid those two. But here now I'll need to add one more bead, because I need 5 and 5 on each side. So I'm wondering, so I think I will, if I do this in this place and then bring it all together, I guess I can manage this one. So as you do, just tighten it up a little bit. Okay. So we added 5 gray, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 5 yellow. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now we will continue adding grays and yellows as required. So this is the gray part. I'm going to start with gray again. So in this row also we are going to be adding 5 and 5. In the next row we are going to be reducing. So one more row of 5 and 5. 5 of gray and 5 of yellow. So which was 12 bead, now it has become 10 beads now. So this is the second bead. So I'm just giving it a little tug so that they all settle well together. So this is 3, 4, and I'll make the other one here. 5, and I'll need to make 5 of yellow also. So that's 1. This is 2. This is 3. And this is 4. Okay, so here in this next row I've added only 5 and 4, so it becomes 9. If I want to add another one, I could. Because you see, in a brick stitch, you remember, as we go down, as we keep going up, we will, yeah, sorry, I was telling about how the brick stitch works. So this is how, because brick stitch is actually used to make a bead crochet rope also. See, those who do not know how to do use a crochet hook and make this rope, they also use a brick stitch rope. They were modified with a little bit of modification is necessary, and then you would be good to go how to make a rope with a brick stitch also. Means the appearance will be the same, but brick stitch will be used, but you will get a kind of a rigid, see, this part, if you see, is quite rigid, and this part, if you see, is quite flexible. So a crochet rope will be more flexible, and this brick stitch part is a little rigid. But there are ways to make it, when you test your thread and your needle, and there are ways to make it like a bead crochet rope, but I'm still not very good at that. So we are just going to, after we do this part, we are going to shift to the bead crochet stitch itself. So now I told you I've added 4 here. So in total, if you want to see how many beads are there in this row, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 are there. So from 8 I wanted to make it so there were 6 and 6 12, so I had to make it 10, and after 10 I was hoping to make it into 8, and then into 6. So here we have 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 are there. So I think I could have avoided this bead here. So this one is an extra here. I have or I in the next row I can adjust that also. So for 2 rows I have made, because here also I made for 2 rows I made 8 and 8. So that's why let me continue making like that, because there should be uniformity on both the sides. Here I've added 5 gray, right? 1 2 3 4 5, and yellow I've added 1 2 3 4. So I have to add one more to make it 5. So I picked up an yellow. So what I will do now is to add the next yellow. I don't have a thread bridge here, so I'm going to use just one of these, one of the thread bridges here. So this is actually our own understanding or logic, whatever what you want to call it. So I'm going to use this thread bridge here to add the next one, or I could even use this thread bridge also. But if I use this thread bridge, what will happen is this bead will be sticking out, so I don't want that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the thread bridge here. Now let me wear my other glasses. I'm not able to. Okay, see this thread bridge here. Okay, now is the time to add the gray. Pick up one gray, and let me just count all the 5 places where I'll be making the 5 stitches. So one, if I go through this, it will be 1 bead, then from here to here 2, then here to here 3, here to here 4, and here to here 5, and then I can again do yellow. Okay, so the next thread bridge I will choose to work is this one. So this is a method that I worked out myself. So that's why I myself am having a little bit of a confusion in working, but I'm trying my best to explain it to you as clearly as possible. Okay, so don't worry about all these beads. So they will all settle down properly once we may do the rest of the stitches. So I've put in 1 gray now. So this is the second one. So this is sorry. Three. If you hear a young toddler screaming, that was my grandson, who's I think throwing a tantrum because he's been at home for the last 2 days and he could not go to the daycare, so he's been a little cranky. So here I've put on 5 beads now. 1 2 3 4 and 5. So this is the second row of 5 and 5, if you remember. 5 here, and I'll need to do 5 more of yellow before I proceed to from 10 I will be moving to 8, so in the next row I'll be doing that. So I'll put on 5 more of the yellow and then we'll reduce. 1, yeah, so I've made 5 and 5, so 2 rows of 5 and 5. So from now I'll be reducing. So to reduce, you see what I'm going to do is, so I'm not going to be using this thread bridge here, which naturally I would have done. Instead of that, I'm going to skip that and I'm taking a gray bead. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, now I will have to do 4 of yellow. So again 1, 2, this will be 2, this will be 3, and I'll have to make 4 only. Okay, so 3, and to make it 4, here I'm reducing 1. So instead of going through this thread bridge, I'm going to go into the next one. So that will be 4. The next I'm going to pick up gray. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. Here now I'll then move to yellow. In this position again I'm going to make a reduction. So here I'm going to avoid this thread bridge and I'm going to go into the next one. So because I made 1 row of 4 I guess 2 rows of 4 and 4. So now I'm going to move into making another reduction there, reducing another bead there. So 1, eventually we need to have only 6 beads in the row. So here you may use your little discretion here, because exactly I'm not able to explain to you where I'm reducing, and as I move, when I see when I see the spaces, I reduce it like that. So see, this is how the look will be, but I guess we can still make it a little more clearer and neater. So this is something that I have just understood, that I just made it up myself, that is joining 2 tubes with a brick stitch. So that's why I might not be very neat, or I might not be able to explain to you clearly. So excuse me for that, but maybe in later episodes, let me see if I can give you a clear understanding of how we should work these stitches. So now we have, say, 3 of this, and for those, so there are 7, but I should have just only 6. So now I'm moving to gray now. Okay, so 1 bead here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and here I think 7. Okay, let's see how it goes now. So 1. So that's why in a brick stitch, always, when we work with when we begin a brick stitch, we always pick up 2 beads at a time, because otherwise we'll keep reducing one each time. So that's why we do that. But in this, you don't do that, because we want to reduce it. Here again, you see, I'm going to reduce 1 more bead here. Instead of using this thread bridge, I'm going to straight away go to the next one. So here you see, finally I have come to a place where there are 3 of gray and 3 of yellow. So that's only 6 of them. So at this position, then I will shift to the bead crochet method, and I will show you how to do this. So before we do that, let me do just one more of this 6 bead part. Okay, and when I'm doing that, I'll also show you that I'll be making it a little loose. Okay, because only then I'll be able to insert my crochet hook into that. I'll show you what I mean by that. So let me take one yellow, this is the tail thread, see as I do this I'm just going to keep it a little loose like this. Okay, see I want this space to be a little looser, so I'm just going to leave it little loose like that, because I'm going to be shifting from brick stitch to bead crochet stitch in the next part now. Okay, so I want those thread bridges to be a little looser, that's all. So 2, and as I'm pulling, I'm not pulling it too tight, I'm just leaving a little gap there. See, just like that. Keep this space a little bit looser, that's all. So there's 3 gray, 3 yellow. Now I will need 3 gray. So going back on the same one. And then the last one. Okay, so you see these parts 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. So these 6 are the places where I'm going to do my bead crochet stitches. So that's why I wanted it a little looser. And now this thread has to be later woven into, but for the time being we can just leave it like this, and then I can pick up my crochet work now. So I'm just going to remove the needle and leave it aside just like this, and I'll show you how to pick up the crochet work from here. So we stopped here where I stopped the brick stitches here, and like I was doing, I had made them a little loose. So I'm picking that up again now, and let me adjust my camera a little bit. Okay, so I just pulled out the thread from where I was working, and that thread is just going to be here until I'm ready to also push them through through the beadwork inside. So I'm just going to be leaving it there just like that. Now to add this part of the rope, see this part is what I'm going to add now. So far from here to here is the brick stitch part. So after the brick stitch I'm going to continue with the crochet rope, so which I'm going to do, it will be a 6 bead crochet rope with 2 beads of each color. So this can be your choice, it can be a plain color, it can be a double color, or it can be in block work like this, the body. So that depends on your choice. Now after I have threaded on the beads onto this white thread here, I am going to begin to show how to do the crochet work, the bead crochet work here. So you see I have completed I've stopped here. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this new thread that I'm going to start. I'm going to insert my crochet hook to the in the space next to this place where I stopped, and I am going to bring out the tail thread from that. Okay, so I'm just going to, this will be the tail thread of the crochet rope, so that's what I'm holding, and this other thread is the one that belonged to the brick stitch. And at this point we can even tape it also, because you don't want those two to move, so you can tape it. Now we are ready to do the bead crochet slip stitches. So I'll bring in a few of the beads, and as I'm holding it tight, see, these are the 6 places where I will be working. So this space, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so these 6 places are the ones where I'll be working my crochet stitches. So insert your crochet hook in that place. So bring down the first bead and make the slip stitch. Again insert your hook in the next thread bridge, bring down one bead and the next slip stitch. The third one will be here. So I told you to keep it a little loose, because if the brick stitch is too tight, it's going to be difficult for us to insert our crochet hooks. So that's why I told you to keep that space a little loose. So this is 3, just do that stitch again. This is 4. So if I had taped these two, it would have been better, it would not be in the way. So that's one option for you. 4, 5, and this is the 6th one. So I have made 6 slip stitches now. Now I am going to continue in a spiral. Now after doing this, I'll again go back into the first one now. So don't worry if it's appearing a little loose and not so perfect. It will all settle in place once we start making, when we add 2 or 3 rows, it will make sense. And then again, when we weave in the tail threads, it will become more firm and neat. This is 5, and this is 6. So let me get the beads. So this is the 6th one. Okay, so this is how it will appear, but when we tie up all these threads properly, they will all fall into place like how it is here. So I'm continuing now. So once you finish at least 2 or 3 rows, then it will become easier for you to work your bead crochet slip stitches. Okay, so I'm just stopping here because these threads are coming in my way and they are getting loose, so I want to fix them up first. So I'm stopping here for some time. Okay, just to make sure that see, these are just loose because they are just hanging without being tied together, so that's why they're all, they look like that. But once we weave in all these ends, see, this is how it will look. Okay, so for the time being, what I will do is, I think I will take them up because I don't want my stitch work to get looser any than this. So okay, so we are good here now. So let me put a tape here again. So meanwhile, this tape can be removed because we don't need this anymore. So that's so that we don't have too many things on. So I'm going to take a tape and scissors and carefully cut this off. We'll take some more tape. I'm trying to, because I don't have a dispenser right here. So these threads which are in the way, so they can just be held together for some time like this. Okay, so we have a lot of threads that we have to weave in. The beading thread, the beginning and the ending of the beading thread, and the beginning of the crochet tube now. So these three threads, all these have to be woven inside the tube. Now we can continue making the bead crochet rope as usual. So that is the problem if we use a safety pin for the stopper. So now, since the threads are all nice and tight and firm, it's easier to work the crochet stitches now. So continue working in a spiral like this. As you spiral here, this part of the necklace also will keep spiraling, so that you'll have to just keep removing that spiral from time to time. Now, for determining the length of how much we are going to add here, so it should be the same as on the other side. Okay, so on the other side, so this is some random length. I have not, I don't have a fixed length for this. So this is the length that I have made for the other side. So I will make the same length of tube for the second side also. And finally, when I finish this, I'll show you what is the total length of the necklace. And also now I can tell you what is the length of this small tube that I have worked. And that will be, I think it's about 3.5 inches. So because it started from here, so 3.5 inches of tube. So the same way I'll work 3.5 inches on the other side also. Then I'll show you how to do the end. I'll show you how to use a clasp for this, or whatever clasp I'm deciding. I'll come back with that. So here I have completed the other tube also to the same length. So when I'm satisfied with the length and when both of them are measuring equally, so you have to also go by the look of it. See, this one I have started here. So I'm placing the other bead rope starting also there, and now I can see that my rope is of the same length. So when I've done so much, now I'm going to finish it now. So this I'll pick up this side now. So to finish it, what we will do is, we are just going to be making slip stitches without any beads. That's the way to complete the row. See, like this. So make one round of slip stitches without any beads. So the stitch will be the same, but there won't be any beads. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So I've made 6 slip stitches, but we should not leave it there. So we have to complete the round. Just make another slip stitch in the next one, then the first slip stitch that we made. So when you do that, the circle will be complete, and now we are ready to take out the thread. So you can either take out the thread like this, or you can make another stitch, another chain stitch, and then just remove your needle and cut this thread. So you see, this is how this end will look. Okay, now we'll leave these two alone for the time being, because I will go to it when we want to finish it. So meanwhile, we have to stitch up all these threads which we had left there. So there are 3 of them, so all 3 have to be woven into. So let me take a needle, and like how you would do for when you're adding new thread, or in any beadwork, that's the same way, or in any other crochet work. So just tighten the thread a little bit, and now we will just stitch them zigzag. Don't go through any of the beads, just go through the thread work only. And don't pull it too tight either. So if you pull it too tight also, the thread work, the inside the tube will also become, the shape will change. So don't do that also. So just make sure that your thread passes in different directions only through the thread work inside your, then never into any of the bead. Okay. Okay, so I've made 5 or 6 passes of one of them, so that will be enough. So I can now take my scissors and cut that off. The same way I have to finish these other two also. So this is the one which I added for the crochet rope, and this is the one which I added when I wanted to do the brick stitch. So I like, if you remember, I had put in a stop bead here. Okay, let me do this off camera, and I'll come back to you when I weave in all this thread. So here you see I have woven in all the tail threads into the rope now, and this was the final look of it. So the ends are like this, where I have done only the slip stitches. So these you can add any kind of a clasp or any kind of ending for this. What I am going to be using are these buttons. These I call them press buttons. I think I don't know if there's any other name for that. So I'm going to be stitching one onto this like this, and another one I'm going to be stitching onto this like this. So I'll stitch this with the thread that's already here. So I could have chosen a black thread also, but since this thread is already there, I'm going to be using the same thread to stitch this both together. Maybe I could even still glue it first, and then I could do it also, but I guess for the video, for the sake of the video, I think I'll go straight. So this I'm taking stitches at random, um, since I am trying to make it look as neat as possible. Okay, after you go through these several times, then you will be ready to. So I think if you want, you need more strength, you can go through it several other times. Now because it's a demonstration, I'm going to finish my thread here. So I'm going to do the same way in which I used to finish the other wind up the other parts of the thread. So I'll be going through only the thread path in the rope in different directions. If you notice, I'm not pulling them too tightly because I don't want the stitches to also change position. So I'll be doing it gently, but I'll make sure that my thread travels in different directions and they will be nice and tight. So with that, we can finish it and cut this one. So in the same way, I'll be adding the other part also to this one like this. So I stitched up the other side also. So both these parts will go in together like this. So I've stitched up the other part also, and both these parts will go into and fix like this. Okay, if you are going to make a long chain, one that goes over your head, we could even do an invisible joining here, or we can add any other kind of ball and socket clasp or the S hook or other things. But for this necklace, I chose to use the press button. with this I complete this double strand bead crochet necklace. Thank you so much for patiently watching. Please do share this video to other beaders who might like it.